Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. What's up, boys?
Hello.
Howdy.
What's going on, everybody? Just a reminder before we get started, check out the Anabolics, Science of Anabolics and PEDs course. It's up on anabolicbodybuilding.com, and also you can catch us on Spotify so you don't crash your car into a tree while driving and listening to the bros talk.
Just go to Tesla. It'll be fun.
Yeah, get a Tesla, you'll be fine. The Tesla is very strict about making sure you pay attention. The new one that I have has a cabin camera that'll recognize when you pick up your phone.
Oh, wow.
I feel like there's got to be a way to bypass that. I feel like I would immediately try to hack into the software.
Well, I figured out the cheats to wear sunglasses. Then I can't see.
That's awesome.
So it must have some sort of eye tracking. It's the only thing I can figure. Colin and I figured that out on our way up to what was it, Swiss last fall. It kept dinging me and disengaging me. Yeah. And I put on sunglasses and then it didn't recognize. So if you want a full facial recognition and Big Brother, wear sunglasses.
Have you ever fallen asleep?
No, it'll start if it sees you close your eyes. I just experimented with it just to see what it would do. And it will start dinging, and then it'll slow the car down and pull it over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of spooky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you make that, Chase, or is that like a meal service thing?
Yeah, it's a meal prep thing. It's Stan Effordine's Vertical Diet Meals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, no
I'm
shit.
giving some serious consideration to getting a meal prep. Was it you that talked about having a private chef? Chase, somebody told me about how they figured out it was cheaper to hire a private chef than it was to do meal prep.
I don't think it would be. I mean, like Stan's deal, I mean, it's expensive, but I get 24 meals for like $300 or something like that. So like I still throw in a bunch of my own things, but it's just so easy to grab something and leave the house, you know?
Yeah, I just don't I'm so fucking busy with work. I just don't have time to cook.
Yeah.
It's
very convenient.
You can't do it on contest prep though, because like everything's measured down to the nth degree. But in the off season, like it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
So I'm giving some serious consideration to meal prep in the off season.
I mean, I've done a few of them. I've tried a few different ones, and I mean, Stan's is pretty good. You know, I don't have any sort of affiliation code or anything with them, and I mean, my orders have always been accurate. They've always been, you know, what I've ordered. That's been the biggest problem with a lot of them is I've placed an order and just like random shit would show up. And I'm like, this isn't what I ordered at all.
I've also heard that some of them skimp you on the protein servings.
I mean, there's that too. But yeah, I mean, Stan's has been good so far. I've been using it for, it's probably been 5 or 6 weeks that I've been.
Oh, wow.
I mean, me and my wife have been happy with it. So she grabs, you know, like 1 or 2 a day. And then I usually have like 2 or 3 a day. So
I need to get him
really
on sometime. He's fun to talk to.
Yeah.
And talk about his vertical diet. I mean, really, it's kind of what I follow in the off season.
Yeah.
It's a bodybuilder's diet at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It just includes a little bit more fruits, I think, and juices than what maybe most would.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I do incorporate fruit in my diet. And you're not a fruit guy, though, Colton, aren't you? You're.
I love fruit. No, I think it's great. I just think high fructose corn syrup and those kind of things are not so great.
Yeah.
I use fruit juice regularly, like pomegranate juice, orange juice, all those things.
You have access to some very good fruit in Thailand.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. the shit out here. I think if I ever leave, the one thing I'll miss the most is the fruits and just like the ready. You can just get it anywhere. Like 7-Eleven will have fresh fruit. It's just delicious.
I'm sure the food's awesome over there.
It's great.
So the $1 million and $1 question Jason and I were talking about before we started. Can you grow on TRT? That was the $1 million and $1 question. I think no, but I mean maybe initial newbie gains.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, I think what people forget to consider is where are you at when you're starting the TRT? Like, are you somebody that's 5'10" and 130 pounds? Mm-hmm. It's like it's gonna help you get to, like the peak natty potential a little bit quicker, but there's not much is gonna happen beyond that,
I wish Kurt was on. He was talking about I think there's some studies and stuff like you don't really see super physiological effects until you're somewhere at 300 to 350 milligrams. It's in that range.
Yeah.
I mean, if your testosterone levels are 200 and you go on TRT and you're at 1200, you're probably going to see some improvement. But
sure,
you're not going to look like Jay Cutler.
No.
I think that's some confusion. Like I had people getting very upset that I said I ran TRT in my off season. I would say TRT plus bodybuilder TRT. Like I wasn't measuring shit, man. Like it was, I don't know, 300, 400 milligrams a week I was taking this off season. I just wanted a break, man.
Yeah.
From all the shots.
That's how I get. Yeah. When I want to take a break, I'm just like, fuck. I mean, like the last break that I took from like November to January-ish, I was doing like a shot every other week. Like I just didn't care. I was like, whatever. Like, and it was maybe 250 each time. Like
that's the way I was. Like sometimes I would take a shot every 3 days. Sometimes I'd go a whole week without taking a shot. It was just whenever I remembered it.
Yeah.
And I know people are like, there's no way you came into the show just doing that. And I'm like, man, it was only 4 months. And if you look at it, I was 255 coming into the show. I'm usually like 275, 280 coming in from my off season. And I've grown since I've pushed the gear up. I mean, I'm running almost 3 grams right now. I don't know what people think is an appropriate dose, but it's hilarious. Like when I'm on TRT plus or whatever it is, people are like, it's not enough, you're lying. And then when I'm taking too much, it's like, it's too much, you're going to die.
No.
Yeah. I think everyone just doesn't really know. I think the problem is many people don't do this in application, or they've done it, but only once or twice. So they tend to formulate an opinion based off of their own experimentation, and likely their own experimentation isn't an accurate representation of what's happening.
Right. I mean, like, I'm not going to lie to people and say that you're going to get huge off of TRT. That's just not going to happen. I mean, this is the most this is God's honest truth. You can believe it or not. This is the most I've ever run right now, ever.
I guess if you've never trained and you're like, you just turned like 40 and you got tested and noticed that your test levels are lower than normal, and you started TRT and you started training and you started eating all at the same time, like, I think you'd get bigger faster than you would otherwise. And like Jay said, you'd meet your genetic potential, more quickly than you would otherwise, and then you'd plateau. I think that's fair to say.
I don't know that your good mic is working, Colin. Or maybe
there it is. I can't tell if it's
I think it was just turned.
Whoops. Sorry.
Well, there it is.
Yeah, now it's on.
Beautiful. This mic is finicky.
There it is.
Yeah, these Shure mics are finicky, but they do sound beautiful, don't they, Chase? You can say test. Make it sound like test. I don't know. I mean, I just I don't want to mislead people. That you get big.
I mean, there's such a huge spectrum too. Like when talking about how much gear you need to use and stuff, like, it's not 100% that everybody's got to use 3 grams, 4 grams, 5 grams, whatever, crazy doses to get huge. There's going to be some random genetic outliers that it's, but I mean, in general, you kind of have to think that's not going to be any of us. There's going to be so few people that actually can do that. That it's kind of easier to default to. Yeah, you're probably going to have to use a lot once you get to the national level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, we've all had that guy we've coached. I mean, there's outliers on both ends of the spectrum. Like there's that one guy. Really? That's all you're doing? And then there's the other dude that's running fucking bukus of stuff and looks like
looks like
dog
he's
shit.
training. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those people, it sucks, man, because I feel bad, dude. I truly feel bad with those people because it's like they'll be doing everything, and sometimes they're the most dedicated ones too. They're hitting every box. It's just like shit all happens, you know.
yeah.
It sucks.
Did you guys see the podcast with Boss of Outlaw?
Yeah.
What's his name?
That's what I was
Yes.
just gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought up something interesting. He was talking about Hyper-Tolerators and Hypo-Responders and Hyperresponders, and I was like, I'm a Hyper-Tolerator and Hypo-Responder.
I am not a Hypo-Tolerator, and I feel like I respond too well. I wouldn't say I'm like I've had to scale back my test. I don't like. It's like I wish I could run as much as you. I pulled it back down. I have established my upper limit of testosterone that I can run 1,500 milligrams. That is the maximum I can run with my dog shit.
I can't hear you very well, Paul. Is everyone else having a hard time too, or no?
I think I'm okay, right?
That was, it was going
kinda-
in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of going in and out a little.
Let me make sure.
No, we're just
What,
having
were you,
technical
what was
issues.
the dose you said was your sweet spot?
For me, my upper limit on testosterone is around 1,500 milligrams. That is
Yeah, your mic is going in and out, my dude.
mine.
Yeah.
Damn it.
What was the side effect you ran into above 1,500?
How about now? Is that okay?
Bigger muscles.
Right now it is. Keep talking.
All right.
Oh,
Check.
Yeah, now you're good.
Oh, here.
that's good.
I think my cable was dangling. I hate it when it dangles.
You can't do that on YouTube, man.
You can't dangle the.
You can't dangle your cable on YouTube. You're gonna get us
Still my cable.
canceled.
Anyway, on back to
the
last
left
question, but
community.
we've hit 4 out of 5 last episodes demonetized. So
It's happening again, man. You're gonna have to figure that out, man.
4 out of last 5.
Your mic is
God's fault.
Your
You
mic
have
is
another
still
mic?
fucked up, Paul.
What's that?
Your mic is still
Your
fucked
mic
up.
keeps cutting in and out.
God damn it.
Maybe check all your cable connections, shut down Shure Motive, restart it.
It's weird when he starts talking, it's clear, and then as he continues to talk, it falls out.
Yeah.
From my end, everybody's kind of a bit glitchy.
Now I can't even. Nick,
Screw you, Nick.
You're so quiet.
I can see and hear Nick fine.
I hear
very-
everybody good.
So Nick's connection's too bad to pick up all of us, but it's good enough that we can pick up him.
Todd, your camera quality is much improved. Did you get a new camera?
I got the one that the InstaLink that Chase suggested a few.
It looks really
months
good,
ago.
man.
Yeah,
I just,
looks good, eh?
Because I just hadn't
I
noticed.
hadn't set up the lighting just right. I found out that I got to do the ring light on a low setting about 2 feet away from the desk, and then I have to turn on the background lights, and then I have to turn the brightness all the way down, and then of course you have to manually turn on. Like in this app, the most you can do with resolution is 1080p, but in Riverside you can do 4K.
How about now? Am I good now?
Yes.
He shook his head. No.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Oh man.
The cleaning ladies were here yesterday, and they always do get around.
Those fuckers did it.
Did
Can
you try
use your
exit?
headphone mic?
Boomer mic.
Did you Josh? Did you close out of Shure Motive and restart that program?
I don't use that.
Oh, you don't? Okay. I guess you don't need that because you have that different.
Yeah.
I
He
use
has the direct
USB.
connection.
Yeah.
So it still sucks.
Right now it doesn't. The last thing you said sounded fine. It's just like every once in a while it sounds like someone's like doing this to your mic.
It's like a warbling. like you're going in and out of water.
Yeah,
And the sentence starts with your head above water, and the sentence finishes when you're underwater.
A mic check on a live.
yeah.
You know this is live, gentlemen. Let me try plugging the cable
What
directly.
kind of
It was good when we started.
operation are you running
Yeah.
here, Paul? Come on.
You must have done something funny. All those high doses of gear. Fucking YouTube found us out.
Mm-hmm.
I
Sniped
don't know
us.
if anybody's said it yet. I was on here late, but happy 4th of May. May the 4th be with you.
Oh shit! It is. Oh, I just got
No.
demonetized.
Oh shit.
Damn it.
What am I stand up?
Well, I'm gonna go watch
that I
Solo.
follow.
I'm gonna watch Solo, and then replay all the scenes with the pansexual robot, just so that other people that hate Kathleen Kennedy can be angry at me because I'm not watching the right Star Wars movie on May the 4th.
Fuck yeah.
Is that better?
I happen to
You
think
can't even
Solo
hear
is
shit
great.
now.
Can't hear anything.
Are you on Windows
Sounds
right now
like-
or,
sounds
or
like you're
Mac?
10 meters away from the microphone.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have any sound now.
I think he said he's on the Mac. I don't know how to troubleshoot a Mac. I'm sorry. But if it was
Oh,
Windows,
boy.
maybe you could check your audio options and see if the
It's like right when we got to the good part.
was scaled
which
up.
is
Let's call Sure technical support while we're on, boys. I think
right when we got to the good part.
I don't know. We're about to
Yesterday was
we're
my
about-
high day. Well, go to bed.
about to see some roid raging probably.
oh my god. Well, Nick, how's the cut going, man?
Yes, it's going good. Hey, like I don't know, like it doesn't feel like a cut. It kind of sucks. Like I'm full because I'm eating like 5,000 calories in a deficit. But it's going good. Like I'm getting leaner. Body weight loss like slowing down, but I'm not one to really use like body weight as a big metric gauge. Like if I'm recomping and stuff, I'll just keep it there usually. But if I want to like speed things up, like I'll drop the calories.
You look
Todd.
good, man. You look lean and fuller. It's pretty impressive.
Thanks for that. I'm thinking I might start my my next cycle this week, the test EQ. I decided to sell the Prima, obviously, as you know from the group chat.
Yeah.
So now I've just got the test and the EQ, which means I can run both of them a bit higher. So I'm probably going to go like a gram of
that.
test 600 EQ to start with, and then just titrate up slowly.
Yeah.
Because you're going back to Aussie, right?
Yeah, so we'll go back on the 18th of July. So yeah, flights are booked for that.
It's coming up,
But
man.
we've got to do some funky stuff with the visa because it's hard to explain, but basically they shortened our visa from 12 months to 9 months, the fighting visa. And so it actually ends now in 9 instead of 12 months. And we've got a lease here until technically October. So we've got to leave like end of July. But yeah, yeah, Steve got my primo. But yeah, that's it's a bit of a predicament. I have to either go back to Pattaya and kind of like extend the visa
Right.
to the date that we left, or I can get a refund for the last 3 months. But that means then I have to do a border run to extend my visa for 1 month. It's
Right.
a real headache.
It's kind of a shitty
wow.
situation either way it cuts.
Can't you just
Yeah.
okay? So which is longer, the visa or the lease?
So,
The
I'm
lease.
not too worried about the lease, honestly, because I can
Okay.
just, they're not going to be able to do anything. I can just leave the country when I want to. Like, yeah.
All right.
And
Yeah.
the thing with Thailand is it's kind of like they don't have like a blacklisting system. So, like, if you like trashed a place that you were like renting, not that you would because it's wrong, but if you trash a place that you're renting, you don't get blacklisted. You can still like rent a place pretty much everywhere else in Thailand. They
Right.
don't kind of have this like system where everything's communicated. But yeah, like the lease ends in October. If I do the whole like not get the refund from my fighting visa for the last 3 months, which is about $1,000, so I'll get $1,000 back if I get the refund, which would be nice. I have to do like a border run, and there's a chance I might not get back in the country if I do a border run. And so the other option is I just don't get the refund. I just basically extend my current fighting visa until the date that I arrived last year in Thailand, which will cover me until my flights. So there's kind of like two options there. One's a little more risky. The other one is less risky, but I don't get
But
the
more
refund.
expensive.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And then to make it more complicated, Michaela's family's visiting us around the time that we would have to go to Pattaya to kind of extend our fighting visa. So it's like and we're meant to be traveling with her family when they come here. So it's just basically a poorly communicated bad timing situation. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't even understand anything that I said, so I don't know if you guys understood anything that I
No,
said.
I sort of get it. Okay, so you had the lease is supposed to be up in October, and the visa was supposed to be 12 months, but the visa is now going to be 9 months, which means that prior to the lease running out, you'd have to go to extend the lease 1 month, but you'd have to go to Pattaya. The problem is Michaela's family is going to be in town at that time, and that there's a communication issue that resulted in this calamity. Most likely, when she communicated to her parents, she didn't make it clear to them that that was a bad time to come, or the plans were already made prior to the government cutting short your visa from 12 months to 9 months. In which case it was out of her hands, and it's no one's fault but the government's. They owe you $1,000 for fucking you over, but you may not be able to collect. And if you leave prior to your lease is up, like in July instead of October, you're not going to get blacklisted for skimping them on 3 months worth of rent because they don't have a blacklist system.
Yeah,
That's damn
exactly.
good.
Yeah. So basically, the predicament is, that's pretty much what you said. Like, so I can either extend the visa to the date that I arrived in the country last year, which would be the fighting visa, and I get no refund, or I can accept the refund and I can basically end my fighting visa before my actual flights out of the country, like within a month's time, and then I can basically do a border run where I just leave the country via car, and then basically stamp out in my passport and try stamped back in to get a 1 month kind of holiday visa. And that'll just tie me over until my flight's on the 18th. But yeah, it's an absolute like mess of a thing. But you summarized it well. I'm kind of glad that I'm not the only autistic person on the podcast.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that, because when I watched the Outlaw video, I'm like, this dude's exactly like me. I was like, he likes black and death metal in the 90s. He like went to medical school and actually made it to the end. For some reason, he didn't graduate when he could have. Whereas, and then the other thing was, everything he fucking said in that interview validated things I've said that people told me I was crazy about.
There's one thing that he said that I resonated with that I never thought about, but like, and people are going to be like, wow, you're an asshole. But there's a lot of times where I don't like, he said when he walks into a room, he doesn't say hello usually to people.
I knew you were going to say that.
I was like, fuck, I do. Because he's like, it's a waste of time. And I was kind of like, oh shit, I've been like that.
Yeah.
Like I know it's wrong. So like I made an effort to like not be a dick like that. But I was like, holy shit, is that real?
Oh, I've done that my whole life. And so I'll have it was like a class, and I would talk to this person in class almost every day. And then 6 months later, I'd pass them in the hall, but I haven't seen them in 5 months. I wouldn't acknowledge or say hi. And then they wouldn't acknowledge or say hi to me. And I'm like, I don't know if that was socially acceptable or not. Are we supposed to still be friends, or is the friendship expired? Was it a temporary friendship? Like, I wouldn't understand the rules. But then when you talk to them the next time, like in a year from that, and then they act like nothing happened either. So it's like, okay, so they still remember who I was. I should have said hi the 32 times I passed them in the hall.
So just to be clear, boss of Outlaw is that coach, Stefan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stefan.
Okay. Yeah.
Stefan.
Oh, Stefan, yeah.
He's a cool dude, man. He's really passionate. I wish I could match his level of excitement for bodybuilding. It's pretty admirable.
Yeah, it was a good podcast for sure.
All right, let me
What a
try
man
this
on
again. Can
There you go.
hear me
Oh,
now?
there he is.
Oh,
That silky
Hey,
smooth voice.
Oh, we
I'm
were
going-
laughing at you, Nick. We were laughing because while you were talking, Paul is just like, and threw his mic
Yeah,
over
he
his
just
shoulder.
threw the mic
and
up.
since he never shows negative emotion, actually seeing it while he's on mute was hysterical. And then we were all trying not to laugh because you were talking. I was like, he's not going to realize we're not laughing at him. He's going to think we're laughing at him.
Chase was making me laugh. He was making like these like barely audible farting noises, and I legitimately thought it was Paul's mic like trying to work again for a second before I realized what was going on. Yeah, that. I was like, man, his shit's really fucked up.
I remember when I first got into IT, like we couldn't get a server to work, and like they were trying all the technical solutions.
All
and
the best
guy's like,
minds.
this guy's like, hit it. And I'm like, so we smacked it, and there was a hard drive that was stuck, and then it worked. So that was my strategy with the mic. Let's throw it and see if it works. When all else fails, throw shit. So I'm good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I
what's
rebooted
up,
my
Justin?
computer.
How you doing?
Hey, man.
What's up, Justin?
How's it going?
Hello.
Before your mic cut out, you were saying that you hit a limit of 1,500 tests a week. I'm curious as to what side effect occurs at 1,500. What happens over 1,500?
It's almost like a trend-like effect, man. I start getting like
The flu?
hot, the flu. I can't sleep. So I backed it
Test
down to
flu.
1,400 on the test, and I'll be lowering it as the prep goes along.
Do you check your body temp? Have you taken your temperature when you feel that way?
No, I should.
Just curious, because I've seen that where usually it seems to be a little higher, but around 2 grams. But guys will get that. And it's almost like they have a fever type response. They kind of like test flu, but they're literally. It'll be mild, 99, 99.2, but they'll be elevated a little bit.
Prostaglandins, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, that's got to be what it is. I had that with
Yeah.
DECA. If I got up to 1,400 a week, this was a while ago. This was 2000. If I got up to 1,400 a week, I would have the flu. If I got up to 1,400 tren a week, I would get the flu. If I went over, let me rephrase that. If I got over 700 tren a week, I would start to get like the flu-like symptoms. I've never taken my test above 1,100, and that felt fine. But those
I
were
was
the
up
two
at
compounds I ran the most.
I was doing 250 a day. I was trying to catch up with Chase, and I couldn't get there.
It's the hyper-tolerator. I don't know.
I had to
What's
pull
funny
down
is-
He's like, I've been on 3,500 for test for a bit. And I feel
Wow,
pretty,
man,
I
I
feel pretty
don't
good.
think I could do it. So I'm
I feel pretty good.
I'm like equal test and DHT right now, so I'm 1,400 of each right now. So
Yeah, I don't
Are
know.
you which DH you're using 700 Primo Mast?
yeah,
Well, I'm at
and there's no logic
I'm-
behind it. It's just cheaper.
okay.
People ask me why
Sometimes
I'm
those are
doing
the
it
best
that way.
cycles. Run what you brung.
So what's funny is I just brought down my test by 40 and increased my mass by 40. So I'm at now 400 mass a day, which is 2.8 grams a week. And I feel no different, but it's weird that I would have a limit of 1,400 nandrolone, but I can run as much as 2.8 Masteron, no problem.
Yeah,
I
that's
do
weird.
some-
It always seems to be compound specific, not total milligram specific. I mean, there is some total milligram specificity, but it's it'll be like 1,500 milligrams of test, no go. 1,500 milligrams total gear, no problem.
Yeah, it's like with me. Like it seems like I can run Primo and Masteron like to unlimited amounts. It doesn't bother me at all. I feel great on Primo.
I'm
I've
similar.
taken Primo up size, 1,800 a week, or was it 2,100? I've had it up, and it doesn't bother me.
It's
But
lucky.
I think the game changer's been the GH, running the GH higher.
I think it definitely helps. Yeah. I mean, because before last year, I never took my test over like 1,200 because I was just scared. And then as I started ramping up last year, I was just like, okay, this is fine, and just kept going, and here we are. But
So when you started that serostim experiment where you did 18 units at night, you had also crossed the line with your total load of androgens.
I mean, when I first started, yeah. I mean, but when I first started it, like it was literally, I brought in GH and everything else was at, I think it was at like 700 total milligrams.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I brought that in and just started seeing things change. And I was like, this is crazy. Let's take advantage of this, and started ramping up the gear with it and took it way beyond what I've ever done. So, and everything worked out.
You blew up.
Yeah.
Shocker how that
It
worked.
worked. It worked out. I don't know.
I have all right, so like my start of my prep, I was 255 fasted, and then I got up as high as about 260, 262, and then I'm back down to 255 now, but I'm way leaner. So I've never had this happen before. This is the first
Yeah,
time
it's been an
ever
interesting
happened.
prep.
I haven't been hungry either. Honestly, I've been a little full. That's been the weird part. Like I have not had. I had to force the high day down yesterday.
I'm gonna make him
didn't
suffer, Justin.
He will. I mean, that's part of the
Nice
benefit of
play,
staying in shape, though. I mean, if you don't get heavy, I mean, to some extent, you need to push it a little bit for growth, and size gains. But if you don't get over fat in the off season, prep really is totally different.
Yeah.
I just.
I mean,
get
that's really
tired
the
of
biggest thing. Most people, their first couple shows, they're just fat when they start prep. Eventually, once you're a full-time bodybuilder and you stay in shape year round, one, you have more muscle, so your metabolism's higher, but two, you stay in better shape. And so it's really prep's more about just being really precise with everything rather than just starving.
Well, that was the good thing about having a 4-month off season. I didn't have time enough to get fat. There wasn't enough time to screw it up super bad.
Yeah.
But I definitely
My
think it's
theory
been
with that,
beneficial.
I think what you're onto something good there, because I think people often take much longer off seasons than they could probably benefit from, and even though they might not be ready to be at a national level yet, I think competing in regional shows can be super productive to hit rebound after rebound and get accelerated growth, and then also on the back end of that have a I think the biggest thing is having a timeline, and just people don't have timelines in bodybuilding when they're starting out. If you can create I'm going to do this show this year, this show next year, this show, and then you have a pace to kind of keep up with, and you don't get sloppy in the off season, shit like that.
Yeah, and also and then you can track. That's the thing. Another thing, we don't set goals, but we also guys will be, I want to be 250 on stage, and it's like, well, you've competed for 4 years and you've gained 3 pounds. What what are you doing to change that? Because you're not on track for that. But I agree with the shorter off season. Just what I noticed was, you'd work with a guy, they get to the pro qualifier level, and they do the USAs or North Americans or nationals, and they do it every year, and then they finally turn pro, and then and maybe they're a heavyweight for 8 years in a row or super, whatever, but roughly the same weight. They turn pro, and then suddenly they're doing 3 shows a year, 3-4 shows a year, trying to qualify for the Olympia, and their weight skyrocket. And so I'd sit and think, it's like, okay, are they taking anything different? No, because most guys, when they are really pushing it for the pro card, that's really where most guys kind of max out things. If anything, they level off or even drop sometimes as a pro. It's the push is over, so it can't be the gear, and it's not like they're making the money to buy better stuff. And so logically, you kind of conclude it's got to be that the fact that they're competing more frequently now and getting more rebounds, and their insulin sensitivity is always staying higher. Their body fat staying lower. They're not having to diet as hard in prep.
I mean, usually when I hear somebody say I'm taking a 2-year off season, I just shake my head. It never seems to result in anything positive.
I'm not what it is.
The only exception I make with the 2-year off season, I don't know if you guys agree with me on this though. Like if you have somebody come to you and they clearly do not have a foundation yet, they need a foundation. I'll say, look, we'll do like a 2-year off season with a deficit phase within that off season. It's not
exactly
just
yeah, that's different.
I hate the guys that come to you like they just think they're bigger than they are, and they're fucking small, and they're like, oh, I want to prep for this show like in say like March next year, and they come to you in the middle of the year. You're like, great, well you've got no fucking muscle. Like, what are we gonna do?
Well, that drives me crazy. All you have to do is
4-month bulk, and then a prep.
I have a couple photos that I show for that. There's oh geez, what's his name? Dang, I can't think of it. He turned pro as a light heavy, and he looks massive on stage. But I'll use Flex Wheeler, 213 or 216 pounds at the '93 Olympia. and I'll show a picture. You know, guys want to be 250 on stage, and I'll say, well, here's 213 at your height. You know, and then I'll say, and then I'll show them Ronnie Coleman at the '98 Olympia, and I'll say, here's 246 at taller than you. You know, or at your height. It's like, you know, that's, you know, that you're going to be heavier than that and in shape. No,
Right.
You know, you need to be realistic. You know, like if you go to the, you know, at pro qualifiers,
realistic.
the light heavies and heavies are usually the best classes. You know, very often the best bodybuilder in the country is under 200 pounds. But everyone thinks they're going to be a super
they come in conditioned.
their first show.
Every national show I go
conditioned,
to, the
they
light
don't have this,
heavyweight
like-
division is the most competitive one.
Yeah. There is there's definitely an epidemic of guys weighing over 200 pounds that think they're big that are not at all.
Paul, can you
Usually
can you pull up a page on Instagram at all, Paul?
Yeah.
I was just going to say there was a Grand Prix show in Australia today, like a pro qualifier, and the guy that won the pro card for bodybuilding, he was not a super heavy. He was a light heavy or middleweight. He was around 80 kilo. Don't know what they
Send me the link in Instagram and I'll bring it up.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's like a monthly occurrence. It's like a monthly occurrence in my Discord, like having to convince a new guy that's over 200 pounds. He doesn't want to get under 200 pounds. And it's like, bro, you're like, you get lean, you're going to be 160. Like you gotta, you're not in a good spot. Yeah. Like you're not big. You think you're big, but you're not there.
So much. It's kind of, it's sad too. I'll have clients who hire me and I'm like, listen, this is going to be a, you know, shitty prep. Like, you know, and they're like, oh, what do you think we'll be? And I'm like, 180. And they're like, no fucking way, dude. And there's just like such disbelief. You know,
Mark Dugdale at 187, you know, it's like, the overall winner, 2004 USA is 187.
So you said this guy was 198?
Yeah, I can never remember his name. It starts with a T, I think.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's 5'10". He's my height. He was
he's 5'10". He's 5'10".
That's wild.
Jesus.
I mean, he's not fully in condition there, but that's what he looks like on stage.
You know, that's good.
I thought he got robbed at the 2020
That's a different kind of 198.
Yeah, for real, right?
But he's probably 220. But that guy, he turned pro as a light heavy. I mean, so, like that's where he turned pro as, and he's an inch shorter than me. You know, however he made weight, he did it. But you know, so when guys like want to do their state show as a super heavyweight, I say, hey, this guy's taller than you. He's under 200 pounds. You know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, nobody
like that, Shane.
I seen the link, Paul.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about 200 pounds where guys got that in their head that if I'm over 200, I'm big no matter what. And it's like, it's a curse.
Almost all of us would be better bodybuilders if there were no scales.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just set it to kilograms. Most people can't do math.
Yeah.
Just have all your clients set to kilograms.
Yeah.
Then
you know, it's just
women love it.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy won the pro card in Australia today. He's 5 foot something and
160.
Probably a bit more than that. I think it was like 175. But like he's nowhere near as big as the super heavies in the show, but he had better shape. He was better conditioned. Yeah. And just it's actually I know the guy. Like, I know him.
That's crazy.
I used to train at a gym that he trains at.
Very, very
176 if he's 80 kilograms.
Yeah. 176 pounds right there.
I mean,
that's
I could be
that's
wrong.
The thing. Shredded looks big on stage.
Flagged.
Big just looks
He's
fat.
gonna get pissed off.
Yep.
I'm happy with
it,
that.
Justin.
But yeah, he looks
Well, I
amazing
think
regardless of his weight.
I think it was you that said, Justin, that if you're super heavyweight and you're peeled, you're either competing for a pro card or you're a pro.
Yeah. There's no one at it. I mean, everyone wants to do. There's always 4 guys in the supers at a state show, and 3 of them should have been a light heavy. One of them should have been a heavy.
Yeah.
It's
like
never a
two out
in
of 10
shape.
people in super heavies come in this shape.
Yeah, I mean, even at the national level, there's the after the first call out, super heavies tends to drop off with conditioning pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it at the show we were at that I competed in. There were some super heavies that were not in shape.
Yeah, Derek, perfect example.
Yeah, what was he when he turned pro?
Middle, I think. I think Dexter was a middle. Dexter might have been a lightweight even. Dexter might have been like 154. Yeah.
Derek 1 is a middle. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Mark Dugdale, I mean, was he 5'9"? He was 187 when he won the overall at the USA's, if I remember. I mean, it was 20 years ago, but
Let me see if I can find Derek when he won the.
It was a pretty cool thing about the sport, you know, that somebody who's smaller than everyone else on the stage, but just comes in with that absolutely nasty conditioning.
yeah,
can
conditioning
the
looks
prize
big. I
home.
mean, that you want to look big on stage, get shredded, because there's only about 30 mass monsters on Earth, and you're not one of them. You know, like, I mean,
Yeah.
they're doing the Olympia.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
really, how many
key
mass
to-
monsters are there?
You're
Like,
right.
How many 255, 260 plus pound legit contest shaped bodybuilders on Earth are there? But
Yeah,
everyone
you're
wants to do
absolutely
it.
right.
So,
There's Derek
Look
when he
at the
turned pro,
thigh gap on him.
and then
Thigh
the
gap on him in
progression.
the first shot.
man, he's
Yeah.
got just
Yeah.
the ability to continue to add size is remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, he kept
And
his
keep his waist too.
shape,
Waist is still
too.
super tight.
Yeah, shape just kept getting better.
Yeah.
Looks like
He
he's
was
only
fucking
gained
crazy.
maybe half an inch on his waist in that entire time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean he's a freak. So the New York Pro's going on today, right?
Next week.
Oh shit!
Next week.
Is it today? No, it's next week, right?
So
I think
it's
today,
gotta be
right?
No, it's
I
not
thought it was
today.
today.
Is it?
I
Really?
just-
Is it today? What? I could have swore it was like 2 weeks or a
I
week.
thought it was tricks.
Let me check it out. May 18th. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, you're right.
Somebody
Oh,
tricked
we
me
got-
and posted a picture that
We got 2 weeks.
So it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks away.
2 weeks. I thought about
It's my
going up for it,
birthday.
but
my 30th is on the 15th.
it always sucks traveling with.
Happy
home
almost
prep.
birthday.
Posted,
I
yeah,
hope
so
Stu does pretty good, man. He's been looking fucking stupid.
Paul posted a CGI thinking it was
Who
today.
has?
I did. And somebody tricked me.
Who's been looking crazy? I didn't hear that. Cole.
Stu.
Oh yeah. He just posted
looking
pics on
really
IG, I think yesterday.
Yep.
Looked really good. Or
Yeah, he
video.
looks
I think.
fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
I just think Nick's a different species. It's so weird how
Yeah.
good Nick looks.
Yeah,
And he's
he-
held it all the way since the Olympia.
Yeah, and he's big right now too, and his waist is small. I mean, assuming his photos are legit, he's impressive as hell.
But the thing
I
with
don't
these
think he
guys
needs
is
to cheat.
like,
Oh, I have no reason to. I shouldn't even have said that because I have no reason. But the only reason I would assume is because he looks so
I
incredible.
know. I mean, he's never disappointed. Like, he always,
Yeah,
he
Looks
always
better on
matches
tape
up.
than anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, Nick Walker always lands the plane like he's so regimented. And I think that's the thing. Like, once you get to that level, sure, everyone has to have a requisite level of genetics to be at that level. But beyond that, it's just hard work and like meticulous.
Yeah, well, I
calculated
remember
effort.
a video. They threw a birthday party for Nick at a restaurant. I remember he walked in and they're all ordering food, and he
Milk.
whips out his Tupperware container, and it's off season on his birthday, and he's eating his rice and cinnamon or whatever.
Bananas and chicken.
My stupid dog is over here barking at himself in the mirror.
We've all been there.
Well, somebody got me with that AI New York Pro. It was very convincing.
I saw, oh, that's what you're talking about. I saw that
Yeah.
and was like, well, this looks weird. What is this?
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Nick looks great. The pictures he's been posting lately, I
I don't see anybody coming close.
No way.
Yeah, I think Nick's, if Nick doesn't mess things up, if he doesn't have an injury or mess his page,
He
he's
would-
gonna win it.
He could show up half cocked here and still fucking white. I mean, everyone's competing for second place. At
He's
this
crazy.
point.
I mean, it looks like he's put some size on.
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. His arms just don't even make sense.
Yeah,
They're
it's
so
crazy.
tall. Like when he's doing a front double bi, from top of his bicep to the bottom of his tricep, it's half his body length.
It's crazy. You know.
In terms of like structure and everything, Nick and Dorian Yates don't remind me of each other at all. But one thing that does remind me of Dorian Yates right now about Nick is how, like you just said, Colton, everyone's fighting for second place. It's like when Dorian used to compete, everybody knew they were hoping for second place.
Yeah, it was almost guys didn't even come in shape. It was like they knew, It was almost like they were beat before
I
they
think
even got
the
there.
stress. I think the stress of them thinking, "Oh, I'm fighting for second. I'm not going to come first,"
Yeah.
made them look worse.
You guys are going to get to witness when my children realize that I'm alive. So this is what it takes. Yeah.
There goes a bottle of Tren out the window.
He texts me. He's like, "Hey, you got some money?" Yeah, I got money.
Fucking discreet.
Him and his bros are going to a yard sale.
Yard
Oh
sale.
hell yeah! This guy.
Maybe you'll find a pumping iron VHS. I swear I found pumping iron. I went to a yard
Hopefully,
sale
it's
once
cheaper
when I
than
was younger.
$50.
Yeah, I don't know why they're going to the yard sale. They were hanging out.
What
in
are they
my-
gonna?
There's going to be some old flannel shirts, a bunch of baby clothes, a dresser with Sour Patch Kids stickers on it, and what else do you find at yard sales? And like,
He's gonna get a rascal scooter for $50. That's what he's gonna get.
Used cooking
They like
utensils.
thinking they're gonna discover something.
hover around.
Like your son discovered the Potomac River the other day.
Yeah, I live like a mile from the Potomac River, and he just realized that the river is right down from us. We've lived here for 13 years, and he just now figured it out. That's what happens when he leaves his bedroom.
Dad, you
I
never
read,
believe
I
we
read
found.
somewhere that like the whole thrift store and yard sale, that whole world has been blown up by corporate resellers. That they're everywhere, so you can't find anything anymore. Like at thrift stores, they just go in immediately and buy everything out to resell.
Oh
'Cause
wow, that's wild.
yeah, I was just reading an article about it. It's kind of interesting.
That is
So now, if
interesting.
I'm not like I've ever been to a yard sale, but if I do, I'm going to try to see if I can tell who's corporate and who's legit.
That's interesting. Huh.
I imagine it
Dave.
wouldn't be difficult to tell.
Dave said him and his friends brought shot glasses when he was at a yard sale when they were my son's age. When I got home from the gym, I got home late. I went out for my cheat meal because it was my high day, and I got home at 11. And him and like 4 or 5 13-year-old boys were in my garage making all kinds of noise and eating McDonald's. And I'm like, where did all this come from, man?
That's awesome.
I was like hanging out on lawn chairs like they were drinking beers or something.
Like King of the Hill. I remember those days, man.
It's better than him super chatting all your money away, at least.
Yeah. I stopped that. He was like, I don't know if you were on for that one, Justin, but I saw like I had like $300 worth of charges from Google on my credit card statement, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And he was giving super likes on videos, and it's all like booty videos on
Of course,
YouTube.
yeah. Like when you
Making it
search
rain.
your search history, it's like, boobs kissing with the girl,
It's like dropping it while it's hot, like it's hot and stuff like that. And I'm like,
making it rain.
Boob kissing.
oh my god,
They don't even know what to search. They're like boob kissing. Yes.
Have you seen some of those? The people will post that. It crack me up every time they'll post it on Twitter or Instagram. You know, I just checked my search history after my son got off the computer, and they're so bad. Yeah,
They don't even
remember-
know. They
I'm
don't even
so
know what to
old.
do.
naked lady.
Naked
There were-
boobs.
I was there for the dawn of the web browser.
All this
I'm so old. I remember I was in the 7th grade in the my middle school's computer lab, and it was the first time I had unfettered access to a web browser in my life. And my first ever search, I think it was into web crawler, was Helen Hunt boobs, and I saw them.
There were 3 things in my son's
Why Helen Hunt? Because
I don't know, man. It was
Was
fucking
it
30 years ago.
1997?
I'm old as fuck. It was. My parents were watching
There was a
it.
6-month
It was like a
period
TV
where
show at the time. It was the
horrible.
first thing that came to mind.
Helen Hunt.
Well, she did get nude in a movie. I remember she got nude in a movie around like 97 or something.
I remember I saw like a tasteful black and white photo in the computer lab.
I would have.
You know what?
I would have
I found
searched
a-
Meg Ryan.
I saw a photo of
Well, this-
Jennifer Lopez, before she got famous. We had an art magazine at the hospital, and she was posing like tastefully nude, but she was really big. And then like I can't remember what her first thing was, if it was a music or a movie or something. But then I saw her and I was like, I know that face. And I was working at the hospital, and I was like, I kind of sorted it out, and I found it again. I was like, holy shit, that was like probably almost 30 years ago.
That's awesome.
Probably before she was a fly girl even.
That's funny. Well, there were three things in my son's browser history when I looked. It was big booties. It was men shooting watermelons with machine guns, and video game videos. People playing video games. And like,
Just in
that
case
was
you're
it.
wondering, I mean that's efficiency.
The kids are all right. Okay, just in case you're wondering.
He's got his priorities right.
That's
And
right.
Meanwhile, my daughter's working on going to medical school.
Yeah, daughter's like, I'm going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Long guns.
She's searching Grey's Anatomy, and then he's searching boobs and machine guns.
Everyone's
They're
yeah,
both
man.
researching anatomy. Yeah, exactly.
My daughter came home from work the other day, and she told me that well, this is kind of I got to be careful how I word this, but there was some some of the boys were out in my garage shooting each other in the dicks with Nerf guns. So that was the other. Yeah, this is the type of highbrow stuff. That,
Your daughter would have just rolled her eyes at them, probably. Yeah.
yeah, interesting things that happen with boys when they're teenagers. And they're also mapping out the local storm drains. They found an entrance to the storm drain, and they're making a map of all the storm drains that run through the neighborhood. Yeah,
Trying to find Pennywise.
exploring.
How
All
many
right,
of
should we
them
take
are
some
there?
questions?
Oh, yeah. See, we have one here from gentleman Sad Guru. Having ankle edema on 100 test, 125 mastron and 0.2 trend. I don't know what to make of
Is he on any
0.2.
GH?
Every day.
All every day.
Blood work is
Yeah, so
clean,
20 I
except
use the trend.
52 AST and 77 ALT. Kidney and heart markers all good. E2 is at 12. BP is 118 over 65. And a cut phase, sub 10% body fat. What do you think?
What's the question?
Oh, he's having ankle edema.
Ankle
I would like to
edema.
know why.
Oh, thank you.
Nick's
for
kind of the
being
pro
my
at this. He's been tackling
Yeah,
this.
so I've been having issues with edema on and off since I got to Thailand. And it's probably the first time I pushed like anabolic load over a gram in my life ever. And the thing that's literally like overnight has like made a big fucking difference. Before that, I'd pretty much got it under control, but adding in 500 to 1,000 milligrams of potassium gluconate with every meal, literally like my ankles are so bony and veiny now. Back to normal. So I mean, that I'm on 4 E's of GH at the moment, but I'll keep the same fashion when I obviously up the dose soon when I start my cycle, and yeah, I think it'll still be good.
How'd you come across that?
I remember talking to Kurt, and he said that he was speaking to Dean Smart over in the UK.
Yeah,
about
Dr. Dean
how
Smart.
our ancestors had like a 16-to-1 ratio of potassium to sodium, and I just figured I can't take telmisartan. I have like a bad response to it, where I actually get edema from telmisartan.
Yeah, some
It's
people
fucked.
do.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
a
so I'm
question I
wondering
would
if
ask this guy if he is taking.
Yeah, if he's on telmisartan, try removing
Or
it,
amlodipine. Calcium channel blockers are pretty notorious for that too.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
I would
removed telmisartan,
double
put
check.
this in.
My only worry with potassium is, starting out in cardiology, I saw a number of cases with hyperkalemia. Two people actually went into VTAC during a stress test because of hyperkalemia. So it sounds like he doesn't have it, but that's the only caveat I'd have with potassium. But it sounds like probably an electrolyte issue. But I would make sure it sounds like there's no issues with heart function, but I would double check, because if there is, then potassium's going to be a problem. But he says that potassium's in range.
Yeah.
You do see
don't
quite a few.
do what I did. Don't do like 500 or 1,000 with every meal. Like just start at maybe 500 or 1,000 for the whole day, and see how that
see if
goes.
that-
Like,
I don't know about-
You don't want to use a minimum effective amount.
Does he sit for work also? If you're sitting in a chair, especially if you're sitting in a chair where your feet don't hit the ground very comfortably, this is a lot of pressure on the back of your bottom hamstring. You'll get poor venous return.
Yeah,
I
that
said no
happens to me
Cialis
too.
or no telmisartan, just
Yeah,
Cialis.
I mean,
Generally speaking, a good rule of thumb is you want 4-to-1 rate, potassium to sodium 4-to-1. So basically 4 times the amount of potassium you have sodium, but you can pretty easily achieve that with just eating the meats you eat and being a
I
little
thought
bit more.
And some
edema
potatoes
was a
and stuff.
potential side effect of Cialis as well too. I'm pretty sure I read that before.
It is,
Yeah.
but I mean, I guess I've never seen it. I don't know what dose he's taking, but I've never seen it be that significant as what he was describing. But who knows?
Yeah, if it's daily, if it's more than 5 milligrams daily, that's a possible. Yeah, and varicose veins. Yeah, that's poor venous return. Yeah, I would guess it's from sitting. I would guess that. I would try to
do like
get up and
5
walk
10
as
walks
often as you
throughout the day.
can.
Just get a standing desk.
Oh, Colin with the quality jokes here. Cialis gives me penis edema.
I didn't want to interrupt. the
Bada
important
bing.
discussion.
I got to tell your joke for you. It was so good.
Stupid.
Tommy said you might want to get those veins checked too. Yeah, maybe get an ultrasound. Make sure
Yeah,
there's
as
not.
long as there's no blood clots.
Well, usually
it's
if there's
fine,
a-
but if there's blood clots, get them.
Usually, if there's a clot, it's just going to be on one side, right? Typically.
Yeah, but if there's
yeah,
varicose
yeah,
veins, you have poor venous return. The water's filling up in those veins.
Yeah.
I mean, veins work on a valve system. There's nothing, the heart pumps blood away from the heart, but nothing pumps it back to the heart.
Right.
So your veins have a series of valves. So when you walk, your calf contracts, it squishes the vein, shoots the blood up past the valve, and gets back to your heart. If you're sitting all day, and especially if you're sitting where there's a lot of pressure on the back of your leg, then the blood just pools there. Your veins are going to swell. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, that dude that just commented, just get some compression socks for when you're riding at the desk.
Yeah.
If you can't get up and walk, but I reckon what Justin said, if you can walk, definitely do that, because I mean, there's other benefits to getting up, doing walks, like better digestion, that sort of thing.
So what
When you get home from work, lay with your feet up for 20 minutes. Put your feet up so your feet are higher than your heart, so gravity works that valve system for you.
and then I walk. I pace in a circle, and that way I get steps in, and I don't have to worry about sitting for too long. I think what Karina does is I think she has a treadmill desk at her office in San Francisco where she has her laptop on treadmill and she can write and walk at the same time. So she gets in steps that way.
Yeah, I got one for my fiance back in Australia when she was doing a prep. The walking pads are amazing. Walking pads
They're
and
so
stand-up
good.
desk.
I had one in the States too. I miss having it.
I bought a
Makes getting
standing.
10K steps so easy.
I bought a standing desk, and it's still in a box in my garage 2 years later.
Damn.
I keep saying I'm going to, because the chair I have, I'm too lazy to buy a new one, but it really compresses the back of my legs. So what I do is I alternate. I'll typically answer check-ins at my computer, and then when they text like a message back, I'll go on the couch and lay with my feet on the side, and I'll text for 20 minutes, then I'll come back, and I'll kind of work in cycles like that.
I am currently sitting in a chair on top of my treadmill. I'll get back to using it when I need to. But yeah, it's under me.
That's funny.
I don't know if I can stand to work all day long. All right, let's grab another question.
But I don't think it has to be all day. I think it has to be for maybe 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, or 20 minutes of walking and then 40 minutes of sitting. But if he sits for 6 or 7 hours, that's what the problem is.
Shane has a question. His wife's about to get surgery on her boobs, and he wants to know if he thinks if we think BPC 157 will make a difference in the healing process, or if you have any other recommendation.
So the way it was explained to me by the plastic surgeon around here that does boob jobs, and he does a good job, was that in the case of boob jobs alone, you do not want rapid healing, because the healing process is the fibrosis that's going to separate the boobs and make them look like shit. So you don't want to speed up healing in boob jobs. You want to let them take their time, because it's cosmetic, not functional.
Interesting. Good info.
Yeah, it's a very good answer.
It doesn't mean it's right. It's just that's what the plastic surgeon. I know 3 plastic surgeons do boob jobs. He's the most popular one. He doesn't go over 400 cc, so he gets the most business. I know one plastic surgeon that does just strippers, and so it's like 600 more
Jesus
cc.
Christ.
You have
And
the
they've got
ones,
like
Todd.
lopsided nipples that are like looking like they're a bit cockeyed.
Yeah.
No, they both do great jobs. It's just some girls, like once the boobs get to a certain size, they're not treated with respect. So like there's certain women like that, like married women typically don't run out and get 600 cc boob jobs, but it's usually 400 and under.
Yeah.
Kane says he wants to see your garage, Paul. It sounds like the inside of a TARDIS.
It's like
Yeah. I just
Like
cleaned
an
a bunch of
Amazon
stuff.
warehouse.
I had about $10,000 worth of gym equipment in there that I don't use, and I just sold all that. So got rid of that. Now it's just where my son and his friends shoot each other in the dicks with Nerf guns on Friday nights, and have the neighbors complaining about how loud they are.
So, speaking of garages and autism, I just saw the movie The Accountant, which I don't know how I missed that.
It's good.
It's
Good
like
movie.
that movie is great. I love
Is that
that
the
movie.
Ben Affleck?
It's so good. Yeah.
And what's so funny is it's like John Wick before John Wick, if he was autistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like John autistic.
John autistic.
Yeah, that's a
Oh
good
man, it
movie.
was so good. And the female leading role is so out of place. It's like because they're walking next to each other, and it's like she's up to his waist. It was
Yeah.
such a fun movie.
Yeah. No, it's a good movie, that one. I actually just watched a new movie on Netflix with the fiance just before. What was it? It's one about like post cereal and Kellogg's. It's a comedy. It's pretty funny. It's got
Is it
Seinfeld
old?
in it.
Dana Carvey is in it.
I think so. Yeah, it literally came
That's
out. This
right
year. It's got
where
Jerry-
Justin
it's got Jerry
lives. It's like
Seinfeld.
an hour outside
Yeah,
of Justin's house.
but I remember I was in 8th grade. I paid money to see it as an 8th grader because I thought there was going to be naked girls. There were, but they were like they had like leprosy or something. What is
No,
that?
no,
about?
In eighth
No,
grade,
this
that'll
movie-
do.
This movie
Oh,
came out this year.
This
That
is
was
Jerry
very-
Seinfeld's new movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm talking
Jerry
about there was a
Seinfeld's new
movie
movie.
about the
Yeah.
cereal Kellogg's and stuff.
Yeah, I know
from,
what
like,
you're talking about.
Oh, what was
Yeah.
it?
And they had
It's
naked
about, like, a
women.
Had a
wellness
weird name.
facility. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
called
yeah.
Unfrosted. Unfrosted.
God, I haven't
It's
seen
about
that
the
movie
development
forever.
of the
It's
Pop-Tart.
unlocked the memory.
Yeah, it's Jerry Seinfeld's new movie.
I also watched that movie hoping for, you know,
There
the
were,
nice
but
kind
the girl was
yeah,
like green or something.
yeah, she was
dying.
not well.
Hey, but there were nipples. I mean,
Win's a win.
like this pre-internet. You took what you could get.
I'm with you, dude.
But I'm telling you, I told my son the kids today, you have no idea how difficult it was.
Oh man, I remember. Yeah,
the things we had to go
The
through.
anxiety of
Little box
loading
blurry.
a JPEG before somebody would walk by.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll like load. It'll
Yeah,
load.
it's like,
Oh yeah,
Nah,
it would go line by
pixels at a
line,
time.
and then it would
Come
do a
on,
pause right
I
before
need
nipple
this.
level.
It's like a
Yeah.
dot matrix printer
Yeah.
on your screen.
Oh,
So bad.
Yeah, my son
I had to
has
go to
no
the
idea.
gas station to get magazines.
Yeah, this is the movie
Yeah.
that just came out.
yeah, it's pretty funny. It's kind of like a stupid funny, like just so far fetched. I don't know how they managed to make the film like it. I'd imagine Post would be really pissed off at that film. They kind of
Well,
like shut all
Jerry
over it.
Seinfeld's he's always bitching about how you can't do comedy anymore. So he hates all the PC stuff.
Oh,
wouldn't
that's
be
why I like Jerry
surprised.
Seinfeld. Seinfeld was such a good show too. Like, I mean, Kramer, I thought he was funny as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Well, that
not
was
a
all Larry
huge
David. Colin and I had
fan
this.
of Seinfeld's comedy. I find it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I find
People
it
go
unevolved.
crazy
Let me
about
say
Friends.
that.
I reckon
Over the
Seinfeld's
years,
better.
his act has not really changed that much. And if you're still doing the same jokes like that you did 30 years ago today, like I don't know. Like I don't need to hear it anymore about the airline peanuts. And I think Seinfeld was a good show.
Shouldn't do that anymore. You're lucky.
I think Seinfeld's a good show because
Correct.
Larry David is a brilliant writer, and that's why one of them went on to have 20 seasons on HBO, and the other one has made this and the B movie. That's just.
He was pretty good.
And I know Jerry's a legend, you know, and I'm nobody, but it's my.
You know what? That's what Nerdrotic said too, and now he has the power to destroy movies before they're released.
Yeah, him and the critical drinker, right?
Yeah, that supposedly Madam Web failed because Nerdrotic didn't like that. I was like, that's so much
Yeah.
power. You just
Yeah, he
gave
just
this
has a
guy.
button on his desk, like, yeah,
He
come on.
was like, he can nuke your movie. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you reshoot it 3 fucking times to
Make
appeal
better
to
movies.
a
Come
broader audience?
Some
It's
some
like-
chud with like a couple million followers on YouTube is not making or breaking Hollywood films. I'm sorry.
I just,
It's a,
I mean, like, I
bullshit
can't
excuse.
believe they reshot the Marvels 3 times.
Oh
It
man.
drove the cost of production up to 400 million, and then it
it's-
did 47 million.
Well, that's
It's
a
like-
big problem. My daughter and I, we watch 80s movies. It's like our thing.
That's fun.
None of those movies, like Goonies, or I mean, any like
Oh,
movie from the
Goonies
80s,
is
they
legendary.
only make blockbusters now. You know, unless it's massive CGI, $400 million budget, it doesn't get made.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back, go to like 93 or 94, think '94 when Forrest Gump came out, there was like you'll see signs on the internet still like of movie theaters like what's showing. There'll be 8 movies or 10 movies showing, and all of them are classics, and none of them would get made today, other than maybe Forrest Gump.
So what's
You have to
funny
go to
is
streaming for it.
they try to make what is traditionally a male focused genre appeal to women, but women like $13 million romantic comedies, like
Yeah,
13
they want
million.
to. Yeah, what like?
So
yeah, they
why
wanna-
don't you just cast
Great.
Brie Larson in a romantic comedy with some guy like Ryan Gosling, spend 15 million bucks on it, and then make the same 47 million? Then
you
why
got
would
because every movie producer is worth $800 million and lives in the same zip code. They have they don't know reality. They're just it's I mean it's it's the same films for the same producers from the same area of the country, thinking they know what works. But if you spend $400 million on CGI, it's going to make money no matter what. And so they don't have to do anything good anymore.
I think they originally spent 150 million, then they showed it to a test audience, and the test audience didn't like it, so they reshot the whole movie with a new plot, and then the test audience didn't like that either, so they reshot it a third time and then just ran with it. It's like, if it's going to like it if you try to make it appeal to everyone.
Yeah,
it's
don't
like
need to.
Fucking money.
I mean, the biggest movies ever made didn't try to do that. They appealed to who their audience was.
Yeah, the people that read comic books, like Nerdrotic, if he likes the movie, then you're appealing to the fan base of the genre that you're appealing to. And so you make the Marvel movies for Marvel fans who are in their 40s, and their kids will like it because they don't have a fucking choice. Their dad's going to take them to whatever movie he's paying for.
Yeah.
But
there's a good saying: a movie for everyone is a movie for no one. Like if you try to make it for everyone, it's just a shit movie.
It's like Miss Marvel was still an all male dominated audience. Women still didn't go see it. So it was completely just, and honestly, I watched it on a plane because I was a captive audience, and the Marvels was really good. Even the fight scenes were good. I was like, they're trashing this thing on wokeness. It wasn't nearly as woke as Miss Marvel or She-Hulk. They actually fixed a lot of their bullshit. It's just that they have such a reputation for shoving their political agenda down your throat with an iron fist. Nobody trusts them and wants to see their movies anymore. But I would say The Marvels was a great movie, but you did have to already have memorized all of the preceding bullshit. Like you had to see all of Miss Marvel, the show. You had to see all of WandaVision. You had to see all of She-Hulk. You had to watch all of course, you had to see the Marvels, and you had to watch Secret Invasion, and then the Marvels would make sense. And it's like, most people don't want to do 14 hours of homework to watch a movie that looks terrible.
Yeah, agreed.
Marvel ended at Infinity War. That's kind of when I injected.
They've been fucking Star Wars over as well.
Yeah,
but that's just gone to shit.
Well, that's a whole other. That's more Captain Kennedy than Kevin Spears. I mean, that's a whole other situation.
Like
it boils down to the same thing though. They're deviating from the source material. It's like, don't deviate from the.
But she material. Actually has an agenda. She hates George Lucas, so she systematically murdered all of his characters, including.
But she should also go eat a bag of dicks. Like she should. Just...
But she used to be she used to get his coffee. That's why this is. She used to be his
it's
assistant.
just a personal vendetta.
And so now that she's destroying his legacy. I don't think Kevin Fear's just lashing out trying to destroy all of Marvel. What's funny is all the writers for She-Hulk, none of them read She-Hulk, and they made fun of the comic books and the people who watched them. They actively hate the fans.
All right, let's grab another question.
Deadpool's going to be
Yeah, Deadpool's going to be great.
That's their chance to come back, is to do it the right way. Or if they did Punisher, which they'll never do Punisher, but if they did Punisher, you can't really fuck that up.
If you follow
the Punisher show was great.
Yeah, well, I saw they're bringing it back. They're bringing that actor back as Punisher, and he's going to be acting alongside Daredevil with the same actor.
Cox.
Yeah,
nice.
Which were two of the darker tone shows, like a little more gritty, dark, and violent. So that was I think it was pre-Disney, right?
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty
Netflix
Disney. It was
had the
Netflix.
rights. Netflix had the
So
rights.
we'll
to
have
that.
to see.
Netflix
You
did a
know,
better job than Disney.
I'm cautiously optimistic that they might, you know, given their recent failures, might give them a little more license to be, you know, a little more, you know, Games of Thrones with it, you know, because that's what the people like.
Yeah.
I think that
All right.
ultimately you need to have a change in leadership. And once there's someone in there that isn't Kevin Fears, and you've got someone who knows what they're doing, then Marvel will have a reboot, kind of like DC did now that what's his name? James Gunn is in charge. They're doing a reboot of all of DC.
I
It'll be
agree.
different.
Because the culture, you know, it starts at the top and goes from there. So if the person at the top of, like, say, who's helming Star Wars, for example, doesn't love Star Wars, yeah,
She hates it.
I mean, like she just doesn't seem like a fan to me. I don't know.
No, she literally.
I could be wrong,
she
but like,
hates George
I don't
Lucas
think
and
she
all
loves
that.
Star Wars like, you know, George Lucas loved it like his baby, or like, you know, a lot of fans love it because they fucking grew up with it. You know, like, I don't think she loves it in that way. And you know, when you have somebody like that at the top, of course, like, everything's just going to be shit. So yeah, definitely got to be a change in leadership.
Colin and I have spent many workouts.
This is common gym fodder for us, like going through the intricacies of why Star Wars sucks now.
I always laugh when people say you have to have your headphones on and be dialed in and be a, you know, look like a serial killer in the gym to make progress. And I'm like, we're always goofing off and laughing, and I've got big talking about shit like this. It's usually this, aliens, and work. Those are the three things we talk about.
Paul, iron sharpens iron. I don't know what to tell you.
I think when we do sets, we put the work in.
Yeah.
Between the sets, we're laughing.
I watched the Three Body Problem, that
Was
series.
pretty good.
That was pretty good.
I didn't like it
This
ends
last
on a
week.
cliffhanger. I'll just say that. I don't want to ruin it for anyone.
There's a
like
there's a
I
sequel.
finished and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Like a B plus, I'd say. I mean,
sequel,
Fallout's the
man.
best thing on right now.
Yeah, Fallout's
Yeah,
the best thing
I
I've seen
agree.
recently.
That and
Fallout was
Shogun.
good.
I still need to
Yeah.
watch Shogun. I'm excited to watch
Fallout didn't
Shogun.
deviate from the source material. That's why it's so good. Like, there was a
really
tiny
good.
bit of a difference, but it was acceptable.
I saw Todd Howard, the guy who runs Bethesda Softworks, talking about the Fallout show. He was like, they were so determined for visual accuracy on the show that we were literally pulling files from our games and just handing them over to them so they could design, like, you know, the sets.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's grab a couple more questions.
Yeah.
All right. We got one for Justin. How much cardio do you usually recommend or give you guys pre-contest?
I don't have a set amount. I mean, as little as you can to be in shape. You know, it's every client and every contest for every client is different. I typically start out pretty light. I like to do like a modified, I call it like bodybuilding high intensity interval training.
Mhm.
It's not real HIIT. It's like 1 minute harder, 1 minute lighter, where it kind of self limits what your intensity is. You push as hard as you can for a minute, granted that you're able to recover enough in the lighter minute to do it again the next minute. Similar to like a fast-paced workout where you do 1 minute set, 1 minute rest, 1 minute set. And I'll do 20 minutes 4 times a week, maybe kind of as a typical starting point with that, so 10 minutes of high intensity, 10 minutes of low intensity in that. And then from there, I just build. And I try to do as little as I can, but almost everyone needs quite a bit more than that. It's rare that people get above 60 minutes total per day. And usually if we get above about 40 minutes, I start adding lists. But sometimes people get higher than that. I mean, I've had people do 2 hours. I think I've had people do 3 hours. You know, you do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Real talk, I'm curious, because there's so many. I think there's a lot of gurus who preach the alternative, but females I don't know how much of us here actually coach females, but in like bikini preps or even wellness or any of those divisions, it's like the cardio can get pretty intensive to get into the body conditioning that you need to be in, like hours plus, you know?
Yeah, girls, they don't have the
Especially-
metabolism. You can just do the math. You do like, like someone like Paul, can eat 4,500 calories and probably be in a 500 calorie deficit.
Yeah.
For like a 120-pound female, she might have a 1,500 BMR. For her to be in a 500 calorie deficit, she's eating 1,000 calories a day. That's nothing. So you don't have the room. Like Paul, I can cut 2,000 calories a day just from food, and he's still not hungry. Maybe not that much, but a female, we could eat zero food and she's only in a 1,500 calorie deficit. So you really have to rely on burning calories more than just removing calories. So they almost always end up doing more cardio.
Yeah.
Plus,
Lord
they
knows
wouldn't
I'm
weigh
not
very
doing
much.
any HIIT cardio.
Yeah.
They don't weigh very much. So they don't.
It's not
you have to-
uncommon. Oh yeah, you go, Todd. Yeah.
Okay, so they don't weigh that much, so they have to do twice as much. So if Paul's 260, an hour of walking for him, it would be like 2 hours of walking for a girl who's 130, or 2 hours and 45 minutes for a girl who's 100 pounds.
Yeah, and you can see that, you can test it. Most treadmills ask you to put your weight. Your weight as 120 pounds versus 260 pounds. It's pretty humbling because ours is set to 150 pounds, I think, or 140 pounds, something like that. Just whatever it was factory set at. And I do 150 calories in 20 minutes. That's like kind of my minimums every morning. And I have to work like it. I'm not just strolling to do that, but like 150 calories for me at my body weight in 20 minutes, I don't even have to walk. If I'm typing fast, I can do that.
But I'm walking the dog.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, like with female clients that I'll coach, it's not uncommon for some prep clients to get as high as 18,000 steps a day with formal cardio included on top of that. And then calories can get relatively low, but I'd rather increase their activity as much as we can within, like, I suppose, the realm of being reasonable, and keep their calories as high as possible going into prep. Obviously, they're going to inevitably get lower, but if you can kind of, like Justin said, because their BMR is so low, like if you can kind of offset how low you take the calories by just increasing their expenditure, they feel a bit better, and I think they bring a better look too. If you over diet someone with no activity, I think it brings a different look to, say, somebody being more active and being on slightly high food. I think they just bring a better look.
As an example, I might have the numbers not exact on this. I can't remember, but I think the average 5'5", 130 pound or maybe 140 pound female burns 30 calories per 1,000 steps. So you can do that, 1,000 steps. That's a lot of walking.
Whereas
for 30
we
calories.
burn like 60 to 70. Like that's
Right, more.
I think if I walk on a 2-degree incline at my body weight, like when I started my deficit, that was enough to get my heart rate to 130 beats per minute at 3 miles an hour. 2-degree incline, 3 miles an hour. I could get 120, 130 beats per minute, which is pretty good. And then obviously as you get leaner and lighter, you have to increase the incline, increase the speed. Or alternatively, something I like to recommend to my clients if they're doing a prep is as they drop, say, once they hit a milestone of dropping like 10 to 20 pounds, add a weight vest. And then they can basically maintain the same settings on the treadmill and they still get the heart rate elevation they want. And that's a good way of kind of like not having to ramp the incline up too much. And I find that doesn't fatigue the legs as much then. If they're walking on a flat, they're getting their heart rate up enough. You get less of that kind of like interference fatigue with your lower body training. And I think at the end of the day, you'd agree with me, guys. Like if you're in a prep, muscle preservation, maintaining the integrity and the performance in your leg training is probably more important than like just ramping up the incline when you could just put a weight vest on and essentially achieve the same heart rate effect.
Yeah.
I am a fan of doing as little cardio as humanly possible.
Yeah.
I actually like cardio.
I'd rather eat less than do cardio.
So
I hated cardio my whole life. I'm with Todd here. I started doing, I just do 20 minutes in abs every morning, and it's just kind of become my wake up routine, and I've kind of grown to like it.
Well, I have like some neurological hacks for it. One, if it's supposed to be miss or hit, then I pick the music that's appropriate so that I'm actually excited and I can watch videos. Like for instance, like there's this Japanese all-girl death metal band called Hanabi, and they have really good videos. It's like if you just watch 2 or 3 of those videos, you're pretty much done with your cardio. And then like I have a special playlist just for hit cardio that's really fast, that has like the chorus is usually, every song's handpicked, so the chorus is about 20 seconds, and then the verse and the bridge is about a minute, so that you get the hit interval of 20 to the 1 to 3 ratio a fast to low. And then for lists, I'll watch a show I really like,
Yeah.
but I'll only be allowed, like I used to watch Goliath, which is like a courtroom drama. And like you can only watch it when you're doing cardio. And so it basically, it keeps you entertained and you don't want to stop watching, but it's not going to get your heart rate up to where you start trying to move faster or get antsy. And I find that if I don't watch things, my eyes wander and it takes longer. Whereas if I'm listening to music or listening to a book or listening to a podcast, but if I'm watching something, then it'll actually keep me engaged. Also, a lot of people could play video games on their phone. Just put your hands up on the thing and play like, I don't know, like some Warhammer 40K strategy game. Something like that keeps you locked in.
That's oddly specific.
Well, it's like I can't think of anything more fun that building armies.
I used to play some of those card games on my phone doing cardio. They don't require a lot of coordination. Sort of,
Yeah, I wouldn't play something that's technical where you got to jump and flip, but like something that's like you just point and click and build armies and shit. That's really addictive.
Marvel Snap is pretty fun. You can play it for free. They're gonna, like any gacha game, they're gonna throw offers at you to spend money on the game. You're gonna be like, I can't pass this up. They'll get their money from you one way or the other. But it's a pretty fun game. It's free. And you can do it while you do.
What
cardio.
do you guys think about this concept that there's interference between cardio and weights, and that you have to do the cardio 6 hours? Like, to me, the most convenient time is do 15 minutes before to warm up and then do 20 minutes after you're done to cool off. That's like the most natural time to do your cardio is before and after weights. But supposedly that interferes with even upper body training, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love science and I love like the real specific stuff, and it's cool to get into the theory and everything. But I just always, like in practical terms, you look at the greatest bodybuilders of all time.
Exactly.
Ronnie did cardio right up. So Ronnie did cardio in the morning and then ate and then went to the gym, and he did pretty well. Could he have done better? I don't know, maybe, but I just feel like it doesn't appear to be a limiting factor in progress.
Well, I totally agree with the fasted for sure, because you can leverage that with clen and other things so that it's burning mostly fat, not as much glycogen. But I mean, in addition to that, once you hit your 45 minutes of list in the morning, then you have more cardio do that day. I would think it's better to do the cardio bracketing your training rather than going back a third time after you've had all your carbs and just burn off all your carbs you just ate to try to rebuild glycogen before going to bed for a third session. I would rather you put some before and after.
I would probably agree with that. I would agree with that. I think though, I mean, most people just don't get in shape, period, and so people, I think before you even worry about that, you need to have several competitions where you've been inside out shredded, and that's where you start worrying about the final 1%. I think we do a pretty big disservice, I think a lot of us as coaches, and I'm guilty of it too, of only talking about the really specific points and the really minor details, because that's what's interesting scientifically, when 99.9% of us none of those make a difference. If we do the cardio, do the training, and eat the diet, that's what matters.
Yeah. It's funny though, nobody ever wants to hear about that. That's the boring
stuff.
I don't
my opinion.
I
was just going to say my opinion on the. I was just going to say my opinion on the interference effect is it's just shitty programming. Like, it just comes down to organizing your stuff properly. I mean, people for decades have been training multiple disciplines at the same time. Like, people have concurrently trained 2 different types of training without any issues. I think it comes down to just planning. Just I wouldn't do like a hit session right before a leg session. That's going to fuck your leg session.
Right. That's different.
Exactly. But it just comes.
It's the same body part, so that makes sense. You can't put it in endurance mode. But why, if I go do bicep curls and then go to the treadmill afterward, did I stop my biceps from growing? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't to me either. Yeah.
Even if there is a difference, then maybe there's maybe you can find a mechanism of action where mTOR is suppressed to some extent or something, but as far as practical terms, I don't think anyone that's not the limiting factor in progress. I don't think for anyone. I think one off-plan meal or one shitty workout a year probably makes a bigger difference than a decade of something like that.
Definitely. It's like these acute changes. It's like same thing with like hormone levels. Like, if you get an acute spike in testosterone, it doesn't mean you're going to build more muscle. Like, I don't think if you get an acute suppression of mTOR from, or whatever it might be. I haven't looked into the literature, but if you get this like acute suppression,
it's a proposed mechanism, right? It's that when you do cardio, you're activating AMP kinase and then shutting down mTOR in essential terms. And I think if we zoom out and consider how much amino acids we're consuming on a daily basis, how much we're training, and then on top of that, if you're not natty, how much fucking gear you're pinning, mTOR is sky high already. Like, what's a drop in the ocean gonna? It's the great analogy that Justin used was throwing a chair off.
rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic.
So what I just don't get though is that I understand. It's like even if it's 1%, if I'm cutting for this show and I don't want to impede any muscle preservation / growth, because it's the same signal either way, is you want to maximize the growth signal. Even if you don't have the calories to grow, it's still going to result in more preservation. Why did the cells in my legs in AMP-K cause my cells in my upper body to be in AMP-K? That makes no sense. And that it's like the autism, if you will, that drives the fucking living shit out of me. That how have these scientists not put it together that the cells in your leg and the cells in your upper body are not the same cells? You're not just one giant muscle cell and one giant fat cell.
You could go all day on that. Like the localized stuff. I see time and time again people talk about leg training, leg work making your upper body flat. Where you're like anatomy and physiology day one, they teach you that you burn muscle glycogen from the muscle being used. You burn liver glycogen to stabilize blood sugar levels. But you see that like that's touted so much that to even say anything other than that, people think you're crazy. Where it's like, no, I mean that's known. You know, like you freshman A&P, you learn that.
So for using your glycogen, because I did a video about your carb cycling, it actually did pretty good. But like, if I want to preserve my legs and my arms, I'm going to do a high day once every, my push-pull legs. I'm going to every leg day, I'm going to do either biceps or triceps. I'm going to do my high day as my leg day. So therefore, my arms and my legs should stay glycogen loaded throughout the whole prep. And I should restart my thyroid. But I will lose some effectiveness or whatever, performance from push and pull day. But the arms and the legs should stay approximately the same size. They might even grow, because if I'm in a surplus, if I'm eating 4,800 calories on the legs and the arms day, I might be able to grow 1/10 of a pound of muscle a month or something, or maybe.
And it doesn't take much. I mean, we've done the math. 1.9 grams of protein synthesis a day is 5 pounds of muscle a year. We're all fighting for less than 5 grams. So yeah, it doesn't take much. You definitely can add size if you're in a small surplus on a training day over a weekly deficit. Definitely, you're adding size, I think.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, the whole.
Josh's got a good point. I mean, I always use this example for everybody. It's like worried about overdoing it. I mean, football players, think about the workload they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, overtraining is. I mean, obviously you can do it. There's a limit, but that's just. I always just picture like talking to my grandma or something and saying like, I just I exercised too much and I lost all my muscle. It's like doesn't like the whole overtraining approach. It's like, I mean, there is a limit, but we're in the gym for an hour. I mean, like in college football, you have morning sprints, a 2-hour practice, weights, and sometimes conditioning at night. You do 40 hours a week of work. Like have you seen college football players? They're not bodybuilders, but they're fucking big dudes.
Yeah, they're carrying a lot of tissue. Yeah,
strong as fuck.
All right, guys, we want to squeeze one more in, then I got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Make it a good one, Colin. Got to find a worthy question to finish off with.
Cool.
What do we got?
Jimmy Kim. Hello, guys. Can HGH change the shape of a belly button? If it's injected subcutaneously in that area? Or
that is
maybe a hernia?
Yes, you probably have a hernia. I know that, GH can't just remodel tissue like it's kind of a plastic surgery in a bottle.
No,
Do you guys
If you have any
remember though?
question, if you have a hernia, you probably have a hernia.
Yeah. Do you guys remember though when, I mean, those of us who were around like 93, 94, 95, when GH first came out and the internet first came out, and people thought the pros were injecting insulin into their belly button?
Yes,
Because,
I
no
remember that.
way.
yeah, because a couple of guys like Tom Prince and several guys had like mild hernias, and so their belly button was sticking out, and that's whatever that was. I had a couple of clients ask me, they were like, "Hey, should I inject my GH?" I'm like, "No, you'll get an abscess. Do not stick it in your belly button."
Oh my God.
So it also bothers me, like when you see like comments on some of these competitors, they're like shredding, they're doing say like a front double or a front lat spread, and you see like their veins and their abs and stuff, and you see like the abs will or the veins will have like those little like bumps and stuff, and people are like, that's where he injects his steroids or HGH. I'm like, nobody's injecting their fucking HGH like above the belly button. Like, what are you talking about? That drives me nuts when some fucking nobody losers like, that's where you do the HGH. I'm like, that's his fucking veins. What are you talking about?
Oh, Chase.
What
You
we
have the
need to do
best
is just have
voices.
fucking metaports and put in at this point. But it's like, honestly, if you think about it, like dialysis people, they have metaports put in. Like, we do more injections than dialysis people. Why don't we have metaports?
That should make life easier.
Yeah, dude.
Hook up
Like,
to the
that's what
port.
we need is a metaport.
I'm
Then
surprised-
people can stop guessing as to where we get it done. We'll get it right here above our our hip, so that it's like covered up by the suit.
I'm
And then
surprised someone hasn't tried that, to be honest. Just walk around with an IV drip of GH and insulin.
That'd be fucking sweet.
Like a colostomy bag, and just have it go into your hip, and then you have the colostomy bag right here, and then you just, instead of being filled with shit, it's filled with your shit. It's filled with your
Squeeze it.
GH and your insulin, and you make up. Of course, people will dose it wrong and they'll die, but then there's less people to compete against.
Yeah. But it'll get sorted out eventually, and then when it does, the secret formula will finally be known.
And on that note, folks, this was another episode of Anabolic Bodybuilding. Some wise wisdom here, shared by the
Maybe.
best in the industry.